Greetings, mortals. It is I, Luther, here with another episode of Tapes of the Lost. Tonight we peel back the bright lights, the trophies, the glory, and find blood beneath the surface. These are not games. These are graves dressed as arenas. 5 moments when sports stopped being a spectacle and became a nightmare.
He soared like a god, 6 feet 7 inches, muscle-bound, unstoppable. Hank Gathers wasn't just a college basketball star. He was a one-man highlight reel, leading the NCAA in both points and rebounds. And on March 4th, 1990, with scouts watching and the NBA waiting, he slammed home an alley-oop. He turned, took 3 steps, and collapsed. Loyola Marymount fans thought he was showboating at first, but Gathers didn't move. He didn't blink. He was dead by the time he hit the floor. A heart condition, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, had been discovered months earlier. He'd been put on beta blockers. Slowed down. He hated it. His dreams were too loud. So he cut back the meds. And on national television, in front of his mother, friends, and the world, his heart betrayed him. The game stopped. The gym fell silent. And one of the greatest athletes of his era died at age 23. No fouls, no flags, just the brutal truth, even gods fall. They called him the gentleman of the field. Andrés Escobar was calm, clean, controlled. A defender who never gloated, never fouled, and never forgot where he came from. Medellin, Colombia, a place where soccer wasn't just life. It was war. In 1994, during the FIFA World Cup, Colombia was a rising favorite. Escobar led the defense, proud, composed, carrying the dreams of a country still healing from narco bloodshed. Then, in a match against the US, tragedy struck. Escobar slid to block a cross. The ball ricocheted into his own net. An own goal. Colombia lost, and their World Cup ended in humiliation. 10 days later, back home in Medellin, Escobar went to a bar. He was spotted, mocked, followed. In the parking lot, 3 men confronted him. One pulled a gun. He shot Escobar 6 times. And after each shot, he screamed, "Goal!" The killer, a bodyguard for the cartel. The motive? Rumors swirled. Gambling losses, wounded pride, or a message to the world. Escobar was 27. His funeral drew tens of thousands. His mistake? One deflection. Because in Colombia at the time, missing the goal could mean missing your life. The Olympics are supposed to be sacred. A ceasefire. A celebration. A stage where nations compete without bullets. But in Munich, 1972, that illusion died before sunrise. It began with shadows. On September 5th, 8 men scaled the fence of the Olympic Village dressed as athletes. They weren't competitors. They were Black September, a Palestinian terrorist group. Their target? The Israeli team. By dawn, 2 athletes were already dead. 9 more were taken hostage. The demands, the release of over 200 prisoners from Israeli jails. The world held its breath. Negotiators stalled. Cameras rolled. And when a rescue attempt was finally launched at a nearby airport, it failed. Horrifically. Grenades, gunfire, chaos. By the end, all 9 Israeli hostages were dead, shot, burned, broken. The Olympics were suspended for just 34 hours. Then, astonishingly, they resumed as if it hadn't happened, as if blood hadn't stained the Olympic rings. To this day, no moment in sports has been darker, no breach more complete, no silence more deafening than that of a gunshot echoing through a global celebration. This wasn't a game gone wrong. This was a war that wore sneakers. They called him the Intimidator. Dale Earnhardt Sr. didn't just race, he dominated. Black shades, black car, black number 3. A legend in NASCAR known for fearlessness, aggression, and a grin that could split pavement. But on February 18th, 2001, he lined up for the Daytona 500, his 676th race. It would be his last, final lap. Earnhardt wasn't leading. He didn't need to be. He was blocking, protecting his son, Dale Jr., and teammate Michael Waltrip from a charging pack behind them. And then, contact! His car clipped Sterling Marlin's, veered up the track, and slammed into the wall at 160 miles per hour. No explosion, no flip. Just a sudden, brutal stop. It looked survivable, but it wasn't. The hit had snapped his neck instantly. No Hans device. No safer barrier. Just old rules in a new era. When they pulled him from the wreck, he was already gone. The man who had conquered death on every turn couldn't outrun this one. NASCAR changed forever. Safety over speed. But the number 3? It's still feared, still honored, and still whispers down every track. Earnhardt died, finishing the job. He was the future. Len Bias, 6 feet 8 inches, lightning in sneakers. A phenom out of Maryland, dubbed by some as the next Michael Jordan. On June 17, 1986, he was drafted number 2 overall by the Boston Celtics, the reigning NBA champions. He smiled, took photos, shook hands, and 48 hours later, he was dead. That night, Bias celebrated with friends in a dorm room. Not with champagne. With cocaine, pure, potent, and fatal. Just after 6 a.m., he collapsed. Heart failure. They called 911. By the time paramedics arrived, Len Bias was gone. No games played. No contracts signed. No future. The sports world was stunned. The Celtics never recovered. And America, faced with the death of a golden boy, panicked. Congress responded with the Anti-Drug Abuse Act of 1986, introducing mandatory minimums and harsh crack laws that would devastate communities for decades. One young man's overdose became a political weapon, a martyr without choice. Bias never got to wear the jersey. He became something else, a cautionary tale dressed in green and white.
Glory makes headlines, but the darkness, that's what lingers. These weren't just athletes. They were icons. Until fate, cruelty, or consequence dragged them off the field. Hank collapsed. Andrés was executed. Munich burned. Dale crashed. Len never made it to the court. 5 lives, 5 graves, 1 truth. The game always ends. The question is how. Likes, subscribe. And remember, when the lights go out and the crowd stops cheering, sometimes the silence screams the loudest.